time, speed, and distance with the problems on trains. First, we'll start with trains, then we'll move on to boats, then we move on to races. And that will be how we'll go ahead with time, speed, and distance. Even in trains, there are 6 types of problem, which will help you to identify what are the various types of problem that you can see in trains. And the first episode we start in trains is the Terminus. This episode of Terminus will help us identify the first type. I told you there are 6 types of problems in train. Type 1 will be studied by the episode of Terminus. Now let us understand what is this. The train, the local train, the Mumbai local start from the terminus which is CST, Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus. And on its way, it crosses a tree. And the time taken to cross this tree is 10 seconds. That is something given to me in the problem. So this train starts from CST. The problem is not started now. When does the problem start? This train comes and reaches this tree, which means the engine of the train is just touching the tree. And that is when I start this stopwatch. So first question that you need to ask yourself in this problem is, what is this 10 seconds? How do I start the stopwatch and where do I end the stopwatch? So what is this 10 seconds? First understand that the train comes here, the engine just touches the tree and the train crosses its length. Now I stop the stopwatch. So 10 seconds is the time taken by this train to cross this tree completely, and that is our type 1. What is type 1? Train crossing a pole or a stationary object having negligible length. Train crossing a pole or a man or a tree, or you can say train crossing a stationary object having negligible length. What is negligible length? The length of that object is very less as compared to the length of the train, and that's why we call the length to be a negligible length. Now what is given to us? As I told you, what is given to us is the time taken by this train to cross this tree completely. And I told you when will I start the stopwatch and when will I stop the stopwatch. The train is just touching the tree, it crosses the tree completely, and I stop the stopwatch. What is given to me? If the length of this train is given to me as 150 meter, find the speed of the train. So I am being given the length of this train is 150 meter. And I am being asked what is the speed of this train. So in the entire chapter, we are just going to have one formula: time is equals to distance upon speed. Time is given to me, 10 seconds is the time taken by this train. What is the distance traveled by this train in this 10 seconds? So can you imagine what is the distance traveled by this train in 10 seconds? So the train was here, I started the stopwatch, and the train crossed its length. And I stopped the stopwatch. So what is the distance traveled in this case? Length of the train. Length of the train. So in type 1, when train is crossing a stationary object having negligible length, the distance is always the length of the train, which is given to me as 150 meter. Because you have to see, distance is nothing but distance traveled when I start the stopwatch and when I stop the stopwatch. So when I start and stop the stopwatch, what is the distance traveled during that time? In this case, it's the length of the train. So that's why I write it as 150 divided by the speed s. That is something I'm supposed to find out. So s comes out to be what now? 150 upon 10. This gets cancelled. Speed is nothing but 15 meter per second, and that is the speed of the train. But what is being asked to me here? Express the speed in kilometer per hour. So I need to express this in kilometer per hour. So let's convert this from meter per second to kilometer per hour. So let's come here for conversion. This is just to understand you the example. If the speed is given as 18 kilometer per hour and I ask you to convert this to meter per second. So kilometer per hour to meter per second, how will you do that? Then I will come on to meter per second to kilometer per hour, which is our question actually. So if you have to convert this 18 kilometer per hour to meter per second, how will you do? First convert kilometers to meters. In 1 kilometer there are how many meters? 1000. So write 1000 here. In 1 hour there are how many seconds? 60 minutes. 60 minutes, and each of the minutes will have 60 seconds. So 60 into 60 is nothing but 3600 seconds. This is meter, this is second. Kilometer per hour converted to meter per second. Now just cut this. What you get in the end is 2 5s are 10, 2 18s are 36. So 18 kilometer per hour, you multiply this by 5 by 18. So 18 gets cancelled. Your answer comes out to be 5 meter per second. And that is how you convert kilometer per hour to meter per second. Multiply it by 5 by 18. As simple as that. No need for writing all this every time, because in the next problems I'll get many of the times where I'll have to convert kilometer per hour to meter per second or meter per second to kilometer per hour. So just remember, multiply by 5 by 18 to convert from kilometer per hour to meter per second. And in case I'm being asked reverse, meter per second to kilometer per hour. Now I need to go back from here to here. What will I do? Multiply by 18 by 5. That's quite clear now. This 5 gets cancelled. I get the answer as 18. Correct. So kilometer per hour to meter per second. What will you do? Multiply by 5 by 18. And if the reverse is asked, meter per second to kilometer per hour, what will you do? Multiply by 18 by 5. And that's how the problem becomes easy. So what is being given here to me? 15 meter per second. I need to convert it to kilometer per hour. So I'll go for this. Multiply it by 18 by 5. Now what is left is your answer. 5 1s are 5 3s are 15. 18 into 3. And now I just multiply 18 into 3. 18 into 3 is nothing but 54. So 54 kilometer per hour is my answer. So 15 meter per second is converted to 54 kilometer per hour. Just multiplying it by 18 by 5.